Guys, welcome to the Mind Bean podcast. My name is Jen McKnight, and this podcast is all about building your dream life and business. Now, today's podcast is a really exciting episode for me, particularly because I'm going to speak to somebody that I've known for many, many years. Her name is Levonia, and you will meet her in a second. And she is the most phenomenal, creative, ambitious being that I have met. And we had a coffee last week. And the coffee started off with a statement that I absolutely loved from Levonia. And she opened up by saying, I can't do another year without doing anything. And I love that because I know that when you get to that point, is right before you're going to have an amazing, amazing breakthrough in your life. And I know that so many of you are at that point in your life as well. So today's episode is going to be real. It's going to be raw. I really want you to experience what someone in your situation and what you're trying to do feels, what their challenges are, because I believe that that's really going to help you. So Levonia, welcome to the Mind Bean podcast.
Thank you so much, Jane, for having me on here.
I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm so excited to have this conversation because I know that for years you have been talking about starting your own business, okay? And I know the potential that you have. So we've obviously worked together many years ago. In fact, Levonia was somebody who hired my business in the past when you worked for Forever New. So I know your work, I know the caliber of work, and I know how ambitious you are. So I'm going to start off with our coffee last week, okay? I just can't do another year of not doing anything. Tell me where your headspace is at and why you said that to me.
Yes. So I think just to go back to our coffee conversation last week, and I think over the last 2 years, really.
Yeah.
It's something that even if I look back at childhood, I mean, since the time I was about 16 years old, when I went through matric, finishing school, really getting to the point of what am I really going to study now, I always knew, there was always something inside of me that knew I want to be the type of person that's going to own my own business. I'm going to really drive the legacy that I want to. And it doesn't matter what exact route or, path I take. But I always knew it back then. And I think, my mom at that stage, she asked me, what do you really want to do with your life? And I said, I want to own my own business and I want to do event planning. And she came back and she said to me, go find a degree because you can't get a degree for that, right?
Yeah.
So she said, do a degree and then you can come back and tell me that this is what you want to do. So I kind of almost put it off from that time and that stage when that dream was inside of me. And just after studying, doing my degree, I really just fell into the workspace, ended up loving it, loving the marketing industry, loving the fashion retail industry. And I think I really thrived in it and I enjoyed it. And I think it was so essential and it had to happen for my journey and where I needed to be now. But over the years, that feeling never went away. I feel like it always stuck with me. And even I remember when you went out and started Macaroon, I was like, oh my word, this is something I would absolutely love to do.
Yeah.
So that feeling basically was there over the years. And I got to a point this year when I came back after December and after, going away. And I just said to myself, I can't. I absolutely can't do it anymore. I'm doing myself an injustice because I'm not truly feeling fulfilled. And I just said, you know what? And I think also what I came to terms with is that, you know what? I think I know I'm definitely going to try. That's for sure. Now I'm ready to just try. I know I'm going to fail and I'm probably going to come through hurdles and I need to prepare myself for it. And I think I was more prepared for that.
Yeah.
So for me, it was an absolute when I came back. I couldn't wait another year. I couldn't hold back anymore.
What do you think happened in December that made you feel that way? Was it something in particular or was it just that you started the year off, you got back to your job and you thought, I can't do this?
Yeah, so I think it's also to do with, I think I told you, I just And 2 years ago, back in 2022, I think when we spoke, I said I was ready to do it. But realistically looking back, I think the journey that I was at that stage, it just was not possible. I was starting a new job. I'm the type of person that when I start a job, I will give all of myself into it. And I'm like, going to prove myself. I'm going to really push myself really hard and make a difference in the company. And I think what was the difference last year coming out from December, I feel like I did that. I accomplished that. And I just felt like, I'm putting so much of effort, so much of passion, so much of myself into, someone else's dream, but
100%.
I'm not doing it for myself.
Yeah. I really agree with that. I think, especially as someone who is creative and really ambitious and really driven, we tend to go into our jobs and give 500% because that's who we are. We want to achieve. We want to, do the best that we can do. But what happens is, and I think where a lot of people are at, is you realize that you're doing it for somebody else and you are coming last in your own life. And if you had to do 1/10 of that effort into your own business, or even full effort into your own business, imagine what you could achieve, because look at the value that you're adding to your company. So tell me, when you're thinking about the business that you want to create, and I know that we touched on this last week, because clarity is really everything. You know that I mentioned it last week, and I want to make sure that this is the beginning of your journey. You need to be really clear about what that business is, why you want that business, and what that means to you. And the reason that I want to focus on that today and really dig deep is because so many entrepreneurs, including myself in the past, have created businesses that don't really fulfill or drive us. So we think we want a certain type of business. We've got 100 ideas. We don't know which one to go with. We either sort of dabble in too many ideas for too long, which all gives mediocre results, or we spend a lot of time on something and we realize months, if not years down the line, that this actually isn't for me. So today I want to get super clear with you on what that means to you. And I think what we need to do is over the next few months, let's track your journey. Let's do one session every month or every second month, and we do step by step, because I do believe that so many people are going to benefit from hearing your journey, your challenges, your struggles, because you're not alone.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know it feels like a lonely journey and it's stressful and it has its ups and downs, but I promise you, you're not alone. And I'm here to cheer you on the entire way. So let's start with, what are the ideas that you had for your business? Okay. And have you done any of the techniques that we spoke about last week? So thinking about your why. Why do you want a certain type of business? What is your purpose? And through that, you would message 4 or 5 friends and ask them why they're friends with you. Okay. So let's start over there. You message 4 or 5 friends. You ask them, well, why are you friends with me? If they come back with a generic answer, then you say, well, why do I make you feel good? Or why do I do this or that? So that you come with common phrases from at least 5 people or family or colleagues that you know you really well, so that you can get to the bottom of your why and what you bring to the world. Because I tell you why. What you think may be normal in your world. So let's say you're very good at events, or you're very good at lead funnels or marketing, or whatever that talent is not normal for everybody else. And I remember we had a conversation probably 2 years ago, before, or a year or so before you went for that job interview, and you were worried about the value that you add, and you had put together a strategy. And I looked at that strategy and I thought, no one that I know can do this level of work or knows as much about this topic as you do, but you still doubted yourself. So what was the feedback that you had from your friends, from your family and colleagues? What were common phrases that you received from them?
Yeah, so that exercise was quite interesting. So I reached out to 4 friends in total. So 4 really close friends. And I think that the common thread that I found out there was that they all felt like anything that I do, I will give 300% to it.
Yeah.
Like I'm very passionate
Yeah.
and attentive to detail
Yeah.
in the small little things. They all said to me, like, they've for a long time always thought I was going to start like an events or experience business.
Yes.
Like, really. And it's just small things that I've done, I think, in our own friendship circle, really. It's like, just throwing like parties at home and just making everyone's feel special, but doing it on a level that they really haven't really experienced before. Very attentive to detail. So I think that was the common thread, was really my passion and, that I have that not a lot of people have. So it was definitely that. And also there's a lot of other small things. I think I'm trying to work out what it means to me and how I can use it. But that really, for me, was the biggest one that I got out of it. They also did say to me that, like, look, they feel like I'm not swayed. I'm not easily swayed. So, I have an opinion and I stick to my opinion. If I feel strongly about something, like, I give my all into it. But yeah, they really drove and pushed that passion elements from it. So
I love that. I love that. And did you write your origin story? So your earliest memories, any stories or experiences that sort of got you to where you are today?
Yes.
Obviously doing that exercise, writing your memories from when you were young and experiences that maybe caused an interest in something or made you change direction or made you change jobs or caused you to study something specific, got to you to where you are today. Were there any common threads in those stories that were quite profound?
Yes.
That made you realize, well, that wasn't as obvious until I had written my origin story?
Yes. I think that so I think that for me it was a bit more obvious because also we went through these sessions over the last few years. I think if I'm not mistaken, after 2018, 2019, I actually did a few psychologist sessions, and they really, really helped me unpack a lot of stuff. And for me personally, I always say to even my friends and like my work colleagues and some of my close family is that I think I had to go through what I went through in life. Like, I think for me, growing up, my parents were divorced. So naturally, my mom was a single mom. She really did struggle in the beginning. Like, I know she really worked hard to climb the corporate ladder, and she was also involved to an extent in marketing. But she always had a dream to own her own business. Oh. And she definitely tried, but I always look back at her journey and I say, so she actually tried importing carpets from overseas, and then she brought it in and she sold it. But I said to myself, if I ever have a business, I would never do this, because she basically just had blind faith. Like, she decided to import the carpets and just believe that it was going to work. It definitely didn't work because she didn't do all the homework up front. And she invested a lot into it. She invested a lot of her money, a lot of her time, even trying to remarket it and trying to go and sell it. So I feel like then I knew that if I'm going to do it, I have to do it properly. But I think it was something that was beneficial for me, but also not really, because I've been holding myself back thinking I need to have all my ducks in a row before I can do this. I'm going to make the same mistakes that she made.
Okay, what do you mean by ducks in a row? Yes. And I think I'm going to pause you there, because I think a lot of newbie entrepreneurs believe that everything has to be perfect at the start. And I have a mantra that I use, which is launch and then learn.
Yes.
But you can launch sensibly. So clarity is everything, which we're going to talk about today, and obviously validating your idea. But what do you mean by your ducks have have to be in a row? Do you mean that everything has to be perfect or the right time?
Yes.
What does that mean
So
for
if
you?
you had asked me this question 3 years ago, it would be different to the answer I have now because of all of our conversations. But 3 years ago, it definitely was, making sure my idea is perfect, making sure I'm in the perfect headspace where personally in my life, making sure that I have enough money to do it and I have enough money to fall back on if it doesn't work. So I think I expected more perfection if I had to look back at it a few years ago. And now my mindset has shifted. And I think after doing a lot of like self-growth work and just also getting to that point where I need to do it now. Like I'm telling Tadi this year, if I do not do it this year, I'm just not going to feel fulfilled. I have to do something now. And I know that I think I've also grown over the years to know that life will never be perfect. Like there's always going to be something that you're not happy with. It's just, and I think my mindset has really shifted, that like trying to find the, perfection in the imperfection.
100%. 100%. So what I always say is 20% of building the business is the mechanics and the tools. 80% is a mindset shift. So shifting your perspective, how you think about things, and what you believe to be the norm. And I think a lot of challenges that any ambitious entrepreneur has in the very beginning is waiting for the right time. There is never a right time. You only have now.
Yes.
Or wanting everything to be perfect. So part of the initial startup phase, which I like to encourage, is to get messy and get moving, because the reality is that any early phase of a business, it is messy because it's a discovery process. So you can expect it to be messy. You can expect to have days where you have no idea what your next step is, or, you're trying to figure out what it is that your product is, or what will add the most value, how you're going to make profit, how will your business be sustainable, what do I spend my time on, so waiting for the perfect time means you will never start. It actually holds you back. So I'm glad that you brought that up, because I really want you to remember to get messy and get moving and launch and then learn. Because the biggest mistake that I would say a lot of new entrepreneurs make is that we want everything to be 100% perfect, and we think that by thinking everything through, we'll get to perfection. But that's not how perfection happens. That's not how progress happens. It only happens through action. You will never make a successful business through thinking. It's through action. It's through taking steps.
And learning from it.
And learning from that. And it's the only way that you'll get there. So I'm glad to hear that. And I'm glad to hear, by the sounds of it, that you're a lot more clear now on what it is that lights you up. So whatever gives you energy, give it back. So I want to touch on that for a moment, because I know that when we first met, you had a lot of ideas.
Yes.
And your words were, where do I start? I don't know. There's so many ideas. Which one will work? And then we tend to speak to our friends, who make it even worse, because everybody has an opinion. Everyone tells you it'll be great, and you just get more confused. So one of the things, like I said just now, is obviously that in the very beginning, the most important thing that you can do is to have clarity. And not just clarity on what your business idea will be, but clarity on what a business is for you, what it means to you. So you need to think about, what type of business do I want? So before you get to the idea, do you want a business that you can scale and you don't have to physically be there per hour or get paid per hour? Or do you want a business where it's service-based and you are one-on-one with people and you earn per hour? Or do you want a product-based business? What does that mean to you? But what does it also mean for your life? So do you want financial freedom, flexibility, where you can work from anywhere? Or do you want to be office bound, where you have a team? What does that business mean for your life? Because often building a business is more than just building a business. It's about building a life. And that's why I'm so passionate about it, because it's about who is the person that you want to become and what is the life that you want? And we can get really specific about that. What do you want to wake up doing every day in your business? And maybe let's touch on that for a minute. Let's understand what it is in your life that you want your business to do for you. And then we're going to go into all those ideas that you had after understanding what lights you up, your origin story. What are those common threads that you find yourself naturally gravitating towards, where those things give you energy, because that's what your purpose will be. And I hate the word purpose because it puts so much pressure on people to figure out what this big purpose is. It doesn't happen like that. Figuring out your purpose happens when you do more of what lights you up and what you feel drawn to. And then you figure it out on the way. So we're going to do that. And then I want to go into the steps that you took to validate your business idea. And then we're going to understand, is the idea that you have now one that you can build, scale, and sustain as a business, so that it will give you the life, the financial freedom, and the flexibility that you're looking for. Okay, so let's start off. What will your business do for you? Describe your perfect day. What type of business do you want, and how does that impact your day and your life?
Yes. So I think we also touched base on this last week, but I really try to understand that first step, or even before the first step, if you take a step backward, like, what is your why? Because I think we've spoken about it on so many different occasions where, like, everyone wants financial freedom. Everyone wants, you want to be able to just go and do whatever you want to do without having to worry about the financial implications. You want to be able to have flexibility in your work day, like, be able to prioritize your health and your body in the morning. So there was those obvious things for me that I knew from the beginning, But I think the big things that really came out just after doing that whole exercise was, what's the really deep why for me? Like, when I get the money, am I really going to feel fulfilled? Am I really going to be happy? Or am I going to just think, like, what next? And I think over this past week, I spent a lot of time reflecting on that because, like you said, based on what you want out of there, you need to understand, is this business right for me? Is it going to serve me? So I think what came out is that just over my career, like looking back at the last 10 years, I think that I met so many empowering women in the industry. Like, in almost each job that I was in, there was a role model or mentor, someone that I naturally gravitated towards. And they may not know, and you're definitely one of them in the workspace, even before we even became close, and just when we were working in the same company, just women that inspired me and really I naturally gravitated towards. And I think that they didn't understand the impact that they had on my life, but they had an impact on my life and they had an impact on my journey. And I think that I want to be that for other women as well. So I think when I really looked at it and, like, asked myself, what would bring you true fulfillment? I think it would be giving back and empowering other people to do the same. And it doesn't have to be, in the form of just motivational speaking. It could be like, where I have a business that, is helping and equipping other women. But just their roles, their everyday roles, to really be stronger and reach their goals. So that was something that really came out for me. Over and above the things that I want out of my life. I think my why, if I really go down to the depths of it, it's that. And then, of course, for myself, I'd want to have my family, but also give them the attention that, I knew I wasn't able to have with my mom, because she was hustling and trying to climb this corporate ladder, and I feel like never really get there. She worked a whole life. So that, I think, is what I got out of it. I mean, I really want to have more time to spend with my family. I want to be fit. I want to be healthy. I want to be the best and I feel like, having a business that gives you flexibility is so important, because you can prioritize yourself. And, being the best you to try and serve other people around you.
I love that. So for me, that is exactly what business is about. And I'll give you an example. I mean, years ago when I had the PR business, it was fantastic. The first year we turned over 6 million. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better business. But after a year or two, I started losing interest. And when things got tough, I just didn't have the energy or the passion to keep driving it. And I thought to myself, what is wrong with me? Like, I've got the money, I've got the freedom, I've got everything that I wanted, right? I didn't understand the why. So for me, being able to help and show other women that it's possible is my why.
Yes.
Because I know that if you have that feeling inside, which I know that you've had for years, it doesn't go away. It only
just eats away at you.
It gets stronger and stronger until it's screaming so loud in your mind that you can't ignore it. And I think that's why your sentence of I cannot do another year without doing anything, I loved, because I knew that the voice was so loud that it's more painful to not do something, which is brilliant, than doing it and experiencing those challenges or whatever the case is. So I think it's fantastic, but 100%, that PR business of mine, I didn't understand my why from the beginning. I skipped that step. And despite the money, despite the freedom, years down the line, I realized, well, this isn't what I want to do. And I was hard on myself, because I sold the business. So, and I went back then to doing something else and starting from scratch. And, I was like, Jennifer, what is wrong with you? Seriously. And I realized that it's because I skipped that crucial step. And finding a business from the very beginning, if you have so many ideas, the key is to understand your why. So speak to your friends, understand what value you add, look at your origin story, your earliest memories, what got you to where you are. What are the defining experiences, like the story with your mom, that made you realize that's what you want or what you don't want? And that, when you get to the point where you understand your why, that's going to get you through the hard times. Because I promise you, building a business is not all rainbows and unicorns. It will have its ups and downs. And my job is to make sure that you can expect that, so that you know what's ahead of you, so that you don't quit the minute it gets tough. But when you get to that point and your light inside your heart is just so dim and you think it's going to die because things are so tough, that little flicker grows and grows and grows and keeps you going. That's your why. So I'm so glad that you figured that out. And what I also want to touch on is the money aspect. So making money in a business, or having financial freedom to travel, to do what you love, to build that dream home, or whatever that is really the crux of why you want to make money. So it's not so much about, and have a think about this, and for everyone listening, I want you to think about this as well. Ask yourself, why do I want that amount of money? So let's say you want to make $30,000 a month, right? What is that money going to give you?
Yes.
So are you going to be able to help your kids one day? Or are you going to be able to travel? So it's not about the money, it's about freedom to explore the world. For me, the financial means is, number one, a beautiful home. I love a home space that just makes me feel amazing. Okay. Not for everyone, but that's what money brings me. Being able to travel. So I spend a lot of my money on going on holidays, taking my kids to different countries so that they get to experience that life. I also spend a lot of my money on helping other people. I mean, people would think I'm nuts by what I spend, but that's what money brings for me. It's not about having X amount in your bank, because trust me, when you get there, when you get that amount of money, you think, well, now what?
Yes, like, what am I going to do with it?
What do I do now?
Yeah.
And it's kind of an anticlimax. And I think a lot of people go through that process. You're so focused on earning a certain amount that when you get there, you're like, now
what to do with it?
This is,
Yeah, no, so I feel like that was definitely a part of the whole why.
Yeah.
And it came really before the whole, what in deep down inside is it like when I get that, is it going to really bring me that fulfillment? So it was definitely, having the ability to travel. I absolutely love traveling. Like, I feel like it's just not enough. Doing it once a year for me is not enough. I want to be able to do it 3 to 4 times a year.
Love that.
Really just travel the world, explore, and just live my life to the fullest, really. And for me, it's also, there's a massive part of me that's doing it for my mom too.
Yeah.
Because she really struggled throughout her working career.
Yeah.
She never had the financial freedom. She never had, she definitely climbed the corporate ladder.
Yeah.
But she never got to that point that she was working so hard toward getting, to getting to. So it's basically to give myself and my children the life that, you don't feel so strained. You don't feel so under pressure, to be able to travel with your kids, create memories with your kids, just live a really enriched life, building memories with your family. So for me, it's all of those things. It's the travel, because I think if anyone says that they wouldn't want that life, they're lying, because it's definitely something that we all aspire to, right? So it's the travel, it's the car, it's the house, it's the giving back. If I was in a position to do it and give back and help other people, 100%, that's something that I've always, I know you mentioned like people are, intimidated by the word purpose. But I grew up, Christian, and something that they always brought up throughout my whole childhood was, what is your God-given purpose? And I struggled with it for many years, but after doing this whole exercise, and I've always known I have a passion for people. I just always thought, how do I directly impact them? But without realizing that I could also make an impact in their lives indirectly, not necessarily going and, working in a non-profit organization. I don't need to do that. I can 100%. Have my own business.
Yes. So it's not as obvious as you think. And I think that is a really critical point, and I get this question a lot, is like, how do I turn my gift, my purpose, into a business without it being an unethical thing? And there is an internal debate that people have with themselves. Is it ethical? Is it not? Here's what I believe to my core, is that you are born with a certain set of gifts. It will naturally be what you're drawn to. Okay. That's why doing a business and sharing those gifts is critical, because your purpose is to make sure that the person who needs your gift the most receives it. And the more that you deny yourself that process or get in your own way, the more you are denying that person receiving the gift that they so need from you. So the unethical side of marketing and business and exchange of money for what you're giving them is very skewed, because the reality is it will be an equal exchange. People need your gift. And you need to know what that gift is in your business so that you have the passion to keep going. Because if you don't have that passion for what you do, it is incredibly difficult to be persistent and push through those hard times. So building a business is going to take the most valuable currency that you have, and that is time. So in the very early stages, it's critical, like we're doing now, to get very clear on what that is for you and what your why is, so that you can push through those hard times. And so I know that in the beginning you had a lot of ideas, and you were thinking about a marketing business, an events experience business, and you had created already beautiful templates, which we'll talk about in a moment. But what did you come to? What did you come to in terms of your final one business idea that you're thinking about pursuing?
So I would be misleading if I said I had the final, because I think it's still a work in progress. I think after going through, because hearing it from other people is really interesting, like to see what other people have to say and doing those steps. So one thing I definitely 100% know is that I have to be passionate about it, because one thing, or actually 2 people mentioned it out of the 4, was that Lev, if you're not passionate about it, you don't care. Like you
100%.
the things that you love and the things that are valuable to you, you give 300% to. But the things that are not, you don't. Like you don't really give your time to it. So, which is quite interesting because like you're hearing that from your friends. But I knew that I couldn't do something that I was half invested in.
100%.
So if I think I've narrowed it down really to, you know, the thing that I've always wanted to do, thinking back when I was 16, really just doing events and experiences on a more higher end level than what is currently offered in the market. Because I think that that's kind of what my point of difference is and what sets me apart from the rest of the industry. So I think what's going to be critical now on the next step, because I had a whole list of the why I can't or why it's not going to work, but I didn't actually yet get to that step of let me talk to my actual potential customer and see what they have to say. Are they willing to spend on it? Because my whole list of why it can't work was, no, they're not going to pay that amount for this service. But I definitely think that will be the point where I will know for sure
100%.
From the ones that I've shortlisted, is this something that I think is so special and so unique and so curated and bespoke? Is that what they are willing to pay for and on a consistent enough basis? So I've always been passionate about that, which is one big one. But something that popped up to me this week, and I think I might have mentioned it to you a few years ago, was strategy. Like I think that's a really strong point for me, and I feel like there's this light and this fire that just gets lit up inside of me. And it was a reminder that actually came from just my day-to-day job, my normal 9 to 5. So, sometimes you get so caught up in the day-to-day work that you go through. And we were currently in strat sessions this week. And I pretty much had to build out and flesh out strat for the next 1 to 5 years. And it just came so naturally to me. I feel like I could have probably, and I felt so much of passion when I did it. So that's something I'm going to obviously investigate and research and look into. But it's really those two main ideas that I just feel is really things that I love and I enjoy.
Amazing.
Look, if no one is willing to pay for it, I feel like I might have to go back to the drawing board. But I think,
you don't know that yet.
Yes, but I don't know that yet. And I think that that's pretty much the two areas that I absolutely thrive in. I think being a marketing person, I'm such a planner.
Yes.
So whether it's like on the strategy level, because that comes with a lot of planning and, needing the customer insight. So I think just naturally I'm so attentive to detail, just having that like almost that marketing DNA inside of me.
Yeah, I love that. I think what I always recommend to anyone who's starting a business, there's two things that you need to consider. Is what lights you up, what you're really good at, where it comes naturally. So the minute something feels extremely uncomfortable, you know that it's not something that flows through you naturally, but something that you also already have a skill set in. Because starting a business where you're doing something completely new is a lot more challenging because you have to upskill and you have to get to that level. But you are looking at something that you already have experience and a skill set in. Now we just need to get you thinking like an entrepreneur and build that as a skill. But what I would say is if you're thinking of a business idea, think of something that you would do regardless of remuneration, something that you find yourself doing anyway. So for example, I have for years, I will sit at night and study personal development techniques, business techniques. I trial and test things all the time. I spend a fortune on doing it just so that I can learn and get better at it. So what do you do despite of remuneration? Let's say even if nothing worked, which won't be the case, but even if nothing worked, it would still have been worth that journey.
Yes.
So that's what you've got to think about. And another thing is that you love strategy and you love the events and experience side of things. You could have strategy in your business. So it might not necessarily be offering people strategy advice, but you could strategize in your own business how you're going to grow it, how you're going to. And it's a funny thing because often we do so much for other companies, but when it comes to our own business, we don't use that skill set in our own business. And it's the most bizarre thing, and I'm guilty for it too. But you could use that in a different way that will fulfill you in your business as well. So what I would say is that you've got these two business ideas. We now need to make sure that you have a customer who's ready and willing to buy, which is critical.
Yes. Sorry, Jen, to interrupt you there. Just to go one more step back with the business ideas. Another exercise that I did, and I'm still kind of doing also with my friends, is what are the problems that I have in my life that need solving?
Love that.
So I don't want to just, because I feel like, when I talk to these customers, I want to have to see the common threads of what issues people have. And I didn't want to only limit it to those things, because I feel like I could find a problem and find a way to bring my passion into the problem. So that's another step. So I've listed it and tried to find the common thread in my own group. But I feel like I still need to open it up to the broader customer base. But I think that for me is also a crucial part of it, because that might be way more valuable than what I think it should be.
100%. Yeah.
So I think once I've done that step and really spoken to everyone about it, I will probably get much more clarity on what does it look like with my passion, somehow serving their issue or their problem.
100%. I think often what happens is people solve a problem that they had to solve for themselves in the past. For me, I went through years of struggle and feeling like something wasn't right, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And I wasted a lot of years and time and money on doing businesses that weren't right for me. If I had just had a me in my younger days that could have given me perspective and clarity, which is clarity equals results and impact, I would be in a very different space to where I am today. But I do believe that I had to go through that process so that I could help other people navigate what I had to go through as an entrepreneur, a woman. How do I manage that with my life and everything that I want, and family and fitness and health and everything that goes with it? So it's often a problem that we needed solving and we managed to solve, and that you can help other people do that same thing. But it might also just be something that you've seen a lot of success in, that you've helped other businesses do, marketing strategies or events, that you've seen a success rate and that you've shown results there, whether it's personal or in somebody's business. So it really is a great technique to use to ask, what have I solved in my life that really was profound that I can help other people do? And the second is, or what have I done for somebody else or a business that showed big results that I know I can give results to other people?
Yes.
So those two questions are critical. And then obviously, once you've gone through that process and you've thought about what lights me up, what do people come to me for, what type of business do I want, what does it mean for my life, the hours I want to spend daily, going through that entire process, then you need to look at, okay, is this business idea going to make money? And again, you mentioned your mom. She did what 1 in 3 founders do. She launched without validating her idea. And 1 in 3 founders fail because of that very reason. So validating your idea is literally the difference between succeeding and failing in your business. And I've been there. I've launched a business that I didn't validate, and it was an absolute flop. So you need to validate your idea. And to do that, you need to make sure, number one, that you've got a customer that is ready and willing to buy. So often we become very biased with our own ideas, and because we're creative and we think they're fantastic, we think everybody's going to love them. What we're forgetting is it's not about us, not about our ideas. It's about the person we're going to add value to. And is there a market for that customer? Because if you don't have a big enough market that you can build on and scale and have a very profitable business, you won't be able to continue with that business. It's not sustainable. And then everyone that's needing your gift is not going to receive it. So you have a responsibility to make sure that your business is going to be sustainable and profitable enough so that you can keep sharing your gift.
Yes.
Okay. So validating your idea is just 4 simple steps. I know that you've started to do it. Number 1 is do your homework, research online. Now you've got 2 ideas that you're looking into. What other brands or companies are offering your product or service in the market at the moment? Go to social media profiles. Do they have big followings? What are people paying for your type of product or service? Is there a market for it? Do a lot of research online. Number 2 is to understand why you're different. And I can hear you've started to dabble in that. Often people will say, well, the market's so saturated. My business is never going to work. There's more than 8 billion people on the planet. There is enough to share business, despite if there are big businesses out there. Okay, so think about, is there a market that's big enough to keep your business sustainable? That's the one thing. And then what are you going to do that's different in your business versus what other people are doing? Because the reality is the blue ocean that everybody talks about and trying to find something that's totally new that doesn't exist in the market, I think is a very outdated concept in today's world. And I've seen it. We've launched brilliant products. A week later, there will be knockoffs. Today's world has changed and the market is aggressive. What will make you stand out is how you do it differently and how you bring your unique characteristics and twist to that service, product, or whatever your business is. So understand why you're different. Step number 3 is to flip the critique. So why will this fail? Why will your business fail? What are the holes in the gap? And can you plug those holes from the very beginning? Again, critical, because this will save you months, if not years, of your time and money being wasted. Spot those gaps from the start. And then number 4 is to get your idea out there. So speak to people, launch your idea, your business, your product, your service, and get feedback from them. Don't choose people who are going to tell you what you want to hear. So steer clear of your best mates because they will filter their response. Find colleagues or people that you are going to actually sell your business, service, or product to and get real-time feedback. Those 4 steps, validating your idea and making sure that there's a market before going into it, is critical. Now, part of that is to really see what other people are charging. So you've got to make sure, and we'll get into this further down the line. Let's just get clarity first. But we will make sure that whatever you're offering is profitable. Because what often happens is we see what other people charge out there. We undercut because we have self-doubt and lack of confidence in the beginning, and then we don't make enough profit. Our business can't sustain and the business dies. Okay, so we'll get to that, but have a look at what other businesses are charging out there so that you can get a good idea of where your idea will be benchmarked at and what the potential earnings are. And what type of volume you're going to have to do. If you're going to have a service that costs $29 or a product, you're going to have to sell huge volume to get to your goals. Or is it a really premium high-end service where you have fewer clients, but you're charging a premium price? So think about those things. And then step number 3 after validating your idea is to speak to your customer. Now, this I recommend to everyone before you start your business. Before you launch your product, speak to 10 customers. 5 to 10, I always prefer 10 because the more the merrier. But the discussion that we had last week was, okay, I want you to physically speak to your ideal customer, someone that's already willing and ready to buy, someone that has the money to buy your product and has that problem that needs solving.
Yes.
And this essentially falls part of the validation process. A second string to it is that obviously it's going to help you position and market your business to sell really well. But it falls part of the validation process, which is why I like to do it in the beginning, because you will hear feedback from your customer and you'll know whether your product is really going to add value or not. So your goal as an entrepreneur is to get to know your customer on such an intimate level where you can describe them as a single person, where you could step into their shoes and walk their day, exactly what they do, how they feel, and you can empathize with them. And if you can do that, you will know exactly how you will solve their problem, because you will understand their pain points, their frustration, what keeps them up at night, what is their biggest fear, and then also what is their dream solution, aka how you are going to solve that problem. So did you speak to any customers? Have you spoken to any people yet? And did you get any feedback?
Not yet. So I think still in the one step before that. But yeah, that's definitely the next step for me, is really going and chatting and building what that customer profile looks like.
100%. Have you got at this point any idea of what type of customer that is? Is it woman? You mentioned women. So is it young, aspiring, ambitious woman? Is it?
I think that it's a mix, because I do think that also what I'm leaning more towards is definitely solving the issue of having to go and do the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
When it comes to just like, curated experiences, events. So I think that it's definitely a customer that has a bit more disposable income. They're willing to pay for it.
100%.
They've almost reached a point in their life where, they have the money. They need to just take out the stress of things from their lives, and is really willing to pay for it. They're not necessarily going to be fussed about spending a bit extra to get a better experience. So 100%. I definitely want to target that higher end consumer. So yeah.
Good.
So that's next step.
Okay. So next step from here then is to speak to at least 5 to 10 customers personally. So whether it's a coffee or over a video call or on the phone. So I always say don't do email or SMS in this case, or WhatsApp or text messages. One-on-one, so that you can listen to the very words that they use. And for everyone listening, I want you to do the same, is to speak to 5 to 10 people that you believe are your dream customer, and ask them what is their biggest fear, what keeps them up at night, what is really frustrating in their lives. So what is not working for them at the moment, and then what would that dream solution look like? And when you do this process, I want you to write down the exact words that they use, every single word. And once you've done that, once you've done 5 or 10 people, list 4 or 5 common phrases that you hear for problems, so their pain points or frustration. Then listen to 4 or 5 points. You might even have 3 in terms of their dream solution. Yes. So what does their dream solution look like? Because that will define your product or service. So you can get really clear on this.
Yes.
An example for me is, I speak to customers every month. I interview customers. I understand how they're going, what are their pain points, etc., because it's that critical in terms of success or failure in your business. And so often I see businesses which are huge, into the hundreds of millions that I work with now, that still don't know who their customer is or what their pain point is, and they can't understand why their business is not scaling to the level that they want, or it's hit a plateau. So I can't emphasize enough how critical this step is, but you're going to do that. You're going to understand the common pain points and their biggest and dream solution, but then you're also going to understand them on a deeper level. So what do they love to do? What social media channels do they follow? Who do they listen to on a podcast? What books do they read? What are their general interests? And you're going to get to know this person so well, so that once you've done that, we're going to get you to write one line as to what your business does. Okay. Seems simple. It's the hardest thing to do.
Imagine.
Okay. But we're going to do that, because what I want to really encourage is to prune all the ideas until you've got one. The reason why I say that is because often people think that if you have 2 or 3 ideas or businesses going, that you increase your chance of success. It actually dilutes your chance. It halves it of succeeding. Now, the more that you can do one thing and do it really well, the more successful your business is going to be. And I promise you, I see this everywhere to this day. I'm a board member and shareholder of a global company, and I work with a lot of new countries that we bring on board to sell the product and the brand. And I promise you, it's a well-written formula that every single new distributor that comes on board that has other interests and other businesses or other products under their stable, they do not see the results. And every single distributor that comes on board that's maybe had a side business where we say, listen, you need to drop one, focus on one thing, they succeed and they fly. So we're going to get you, once you've spoken to your customers, to really come down to one line. I help whoever it is that you help, what their problem is, the results that you're going to get them, and how you're going to do that. We are literally going to put it into one line.
Yes.
And then we're going to have a second add to that sentence, which is the secret sauce. I am different because. Okay, so that's our task for the next session.
Okay.
We're going to make sure that you simplify your business into one line. And to do that, you're going to actually speak to people, because I want you to follow the money.
Yes. So it's our mission statement and point of difference.
100%. Doesn't even need to be as fancy as a mission statement. It's just about making sure that you get one idea that you're going to go with. But that idea is going to be validated, because you're going to see that there's a market for it. You're going to have Googled, researched, understood why you're different. You're going to flip the critique and critique your own idea. And you're going to speak to people so that you know, and you've got feedback from the market. Okay, 10 people have had the same problem. Then you'll be able to write your business idea in one sentence, because you'll be laser focused on what your customer needs. So you'll know, okay, I know this customer so well that this is their biggest problem. That's what I'm going to solve.
Yes. And when you put it like that, it actually makes so much of sense, because you want to know that this is 100% what they are going to pay for.
Exactly. So many companies miss this step. I've done it on numerous occasions and it cost me a lot. So you need to really understand and know your customer so well that you can add value in a way that will be authentic. It will be giving, so it will fulfill you in more ways than one. Seeing results because you know them so well that you know what solution they need. That is when you have a thriving business to stay. That is a sustainable business, a sustainable sales funnel, when you know you have a customer that's ready and willing to buy. And for all of the other ideas around that, we all have so many. I have a book that's 90% written that I've just put on the shelf until one day when the time is right, I will bring that book out and I will finish it and launch it. But put those on the shelf, pick one, and then we're going to start there. Yes, okay.
And do it really well.
And we're going to do it well. And I promise you, there will be ups and downs, but most of all, there will be learnings. Each time you learn, you'll refine it, you'll get better at it, until that one thing, you will be an absolute master at that thing. And you'll be selling it in a few months. So our goal of the next 3 or 4 months is to get you selling. Yes. Okay. So we're not going to procrastinate. Mm-hmm. I don't want everyone just to consume these podcasts. I don't want you to just consume information and because it feels great and you get excited. I want you to act. This is all action driven. Okay.
Yes, 100%.
So we're going to get there. We're going to get you selling in a few months. We're going to document this journey, because here you are inspiring other people already, which is amazing. And we're going to get your business going, Lev.
Amazing. It's
Are you ready
exciting.
for this?
I am ready. I feel like I've been ready. So it's such an exciting feeling that you just, even then, that statement that I made to you coming back.
Yes.
It was more, like you said, it would have been more painful. It's just leave it alone, not talk about it, not put together an action plan, then doing it. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of, learnings from it. But I just feel like I'm absolutely ready. Couldn't be 100%. More excited.
And I really want to encourage even anyone listening to this is, if you have that feeling, when there's a feeling that inside that you keep telling to keep quiet and you smother it by hopping jobs or whatever the case is. You smother that little voice that's telling you you're not in the right place. I want to encourage you to listen to it and not, even if you have an interest in something and you're passionate about it, I just want you to dabble in that. You don't have to flip your life around overnight. Just dabble in it. Try offer one person a service and see whether you like it or not. Instead of being fixated on a huge outcome and fixated on the results, I want you to focus on the journey of learning, the journey of growing, the journey of becoming the entrepreneur that you want to become and the person that you want to be. When you focus on that, you're not going to be as overwhelmed, number one, because it's not this huge mountain that you need to climb tomorrow, but you will be more focused on action over worrying about whether something is perfect or not, or whether it's going to get you the results. That action and those learnings and having that mindset that, okay, this didn't work, what can I change? Or this is what customers want. I've made a mistake here. This is how I'm going to tweak it. Oh, look at the person I'm becoming. I've changed my way of thinking.
Yes.
So that's going to be our goal. It's about the journey. It's about acting, getting messy, getting moving, launching, and then learning. And I'm so excited that you are going to be on this journey that's also going to help so many other people and encourage so many other people to do the same thing. Okay, because that's what we want. We want action, we want results, and we want impact, right?
No, definitely.
Okay, and we're not going to hold back anymore, because that means that you're depriving people who are waiting for your gift. I know you have a gift. You know you have a gift. So let's make this happen,
Yes, exciting. Thanks so much,
Thank you
Jen.
for being on the show. I'm so excited. And guys, we are going to go on this journey together. Levonia is going to inspire so many people. She's going to make her business thrive this year. We're going to work together, and you are going to be on this journey with us, because I know that you are in the space and you're not alone, and you have what it takes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jane. Thanks. And thanks, everyone. And yeah, thank you.
Exciting
Exciting times, Jane.